Good Monday. This is Jay Brew, co-chairman of Seafried and Brew. Well, over the past couple of weeks, many bankers have asked me, where do we think short-term interest rates are going to go? And I keep going back to look at the charts in terms of the 3-month change in the state coincident index. Look at this from the standpoint of where we were over the last 2 years and where we are today. So when we look at last month, 0.7% growth over the last 3 months. This month, 0.6% growth. Really, for the entire year last year, it stayed at these levels. Once again, this would indicate that slow growth equals low interest rates for the foreseeable future. When we then look out for 6 months from the state leading indexes, that then we see the same type of growth that we've seen before over the last year, right at the 1.3% type level for last month and 1.1% coming in for this month's figure. Once again, relatively slow growth as we look across the country. Certainly one of the changes that we've seen compared to last month is that we're seeing some pink states start to come up in here, which would actually increase or say slightly decrease negative growth. So when we think about all of this together, that another thing to look at in terms of the melees that we have in our economy is a slide that Dr. Ed has been talking about, which are the net percent of respondents that expect their income to increase. And we look all the way back into 1970, and you'll see that people over time felt that their overall income would grow. When we went into this particular recession, this actually went into the negative territory, suggesting that the impact of this Great Recession was incredible compared to all of the gray areas which would be recessions in the past. But more importantly is that where do people feel now that their income is going to increase? And we still have not come into any kind of recovery at all in here. So we look at that malaise along with the overall participation rate, which is showing a slight uptick this past month, moving to 63.3%, up 0.1%, just a slight pickup, but still at historical levels that take us back into the 1970s. So when we look at this, and the Fed has got to be looking at these factors, is that this, in my mind, prevents us from growing as a nation. That this prevents us from having the kind of economic growth that would signal high interest rates. If you look at from the standpoint of overall small business growth in here, is that once again the community bankers who I've been talking about are just not seeing the lending opportunities for businesses to grow in here. The businesses don't want to borrow against the future based upon the melees and the slow growth that we're in to now. So when we think about that and put that all together, once again, that would suggest that short-term interest rates could remain low for the very foreseeable future. This is Jay Brew, co-chairman of Seafried and Brew. Have a great week.